There, I think we're on. Good morning. Good Ides of March morning. Uh, the news this morning, just all over the world, is just terribly, terribly terrible. And today's date, the Ides of March, has always been associated with bad omens and omens of catastrophe, all based on the uh, assassination of Julius Caesar back in 44 BC. And it sort of got me thinking along those terms because I was going to share with you a little clip from my novel, An Accidental Christ. But before I do that, let's just take a look at what Wikipedia says about the Ides of March. Julius Caesar was assassinated by a group of senators on the Ides of March, or March 15th, 44 BC, during a meeting of the Senate and the Curia of Pompeii at the Theater of Pompeii in Rome. Now, the Curia of Pompeii was the name of a place in Rome, okay, a landmark, where the senators stabbed Caesar 23 times. Now, whether or not that's the source of the phrase 23 skidoo, but Caesar certainly did skidoo with 23 lip-like wounds, as Shakespeare said. But I digress. They claim to be acting over the fears that Caesar's unprecedented concentration of power during his dictatorship was undermining the Roman Republic. At least 60 to 70 senators were party to the conspiracy, led by Marcus Junius Brutus, Gaius Cassius Longinus, Decimus Genius Brutus Albinus, who's usually named shortened to, and it was Albinus too. Despite the death of Caesar, the conspirators were unable to restore the institutions of the Republic. In other words, it made matters worse eventually. But I think it felt really good at the time. That's not in Wikipedia. The ramifications of the assassination led to his martyrdom. Oh, poor Caesar. And the Liberator's Civil War. And ultimately to the Principate period of the Roman Empire. Okay, that's that. In the Rite of Saul, which also is one of the rites of Eleusis, that deals with the mythology of the death of the sun and its inevitable resurrection. So part of the dramatic enactment of that cosmic event is an assassination. The character that plays the sun is assassinated by three ruffians. Well, yeah, they're not called. Yeah, I guess they are called ruffians, even in the. And it's like his job. It's like the sun's job to get itself assassinated. I mean, it's not a tragedy because it really isn't the end of anything. Okay, it's the mechanics of the perpetuation of everything. But the two guards of the sun, Ares, brother Ares, and brother Leo, for obvious reasons. They try to protect the sun in the shrine, and these two ruffians come and they try to chase him away. But the sun says, "No, bring them on." He doesn't say a word, but he indicates, "No, let them stay. Let them say, let them come right in and fiddle with my solarness." And they do, and he gets himself crucified. Okay, at the spoiler alert. But at the moment when the sun says, allow them to come into me, or it was Scorpio Apophis, or Satan Typhon, yes. Says, bring them on. And Brother Leo recites a quick poem that from Crowley's Orpheus that sort of is appropriate to the Ides of March too, and political assassinations in particular. It always seems that political assassinations really don't answer anything. Gandhi got himself assassinated, and immediately there was the partition of the newly freed India into all of the, well, anyway, it doesn't help. Mortals never learn from stories how catastrophe becomes. How above the victor's glories and the trumpets and the drums and the cry of millions, Master, looms the shadow of disaster. Every hour a man hath said, that at least is scotched and dead. Some one circumstance, at last that and its effects are past. Some one terror, subtle foe, I have laid that spectre low. They know not, learn not, cannot calculate how subtly fate weaves its fine mesh, perceiving how to wait, or how accumulate the trifles that shall make it master yet of the strong soul that bade itself forget. We're being bade to forget lots of things. It amazes me how much we are being bade to forget the rise of Mussolini, the rise of Hitler, how we're bade to forget the mechanics, the prelude, the execution, and the aftermath of genocide. We're being bade to forget. They know not, learn not, cannot calculate how subtly fate weaves its fine mesh, perceiving how to wait, or how accumulate the trifles that shall make it master yet of the strong soul that bade itself forget. Beware the Ides of March. Okay. I was going to read this too. This is from An Accidental Christ, where in the dramatic setup of the thing, Joseph of Ramtha, or who we know as Joseph of Arimathea, who was a wealthy member of the Sanhedrin in Jerusalem, the Senate, if you will, sort of a combination of religious body and governmental body, but they're all under the thumb of Rome. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. And they're trying to set up this coup, if you will, as Jesus, the son of Joseph ben Heli, and Mary, the Benjamite princess, if you will, which they were, as hereditary king of the Jews, literally, because Herod was just Antipas was just a puppet installed by Rome. And there was a political movement at foot to install a new hereditary king of the Jews. It wasn't just a metaphor. They meant it. Behold the newborn king. Okay, they meant it. Joseph is discussing this with Jesus and more or less spelling out the reality of the situation. On the surface, it'll appear to the world that our Davidic kingdom is a theocracy. But for any kingdom to exist, it must first appear to be something. Joseph returned to his seat and drew it closer to Jesus. You are a well-educated man. I have no doubt that you're aware that the legendary kingdoms of David and Solomon, if they existed at all, bore little semblance to the fanciful scriptural accounts. We both know that much of what is commonly believed to have been the golden age of ancient Israel is fiction. A fantasy spun by the melancholy poets of the Babylonian captivity. A dream to bring hope to the diverse captives of that cruel era. Nebuchadnezzar's captives from various countries. When great Cyrus conquered Babylon, he found it necessary to expeditiously rid himself of our ancestors and the other slaves that Nebuchadnezzar had captured from foreign lands. After 2 generations, our forefathers had become too expensive to feed and too numerous to house. Uncle Clopas laughingly interjected. Joseph did not acknowledge the interruption. Darius, Cyrus's successor, feared cultural unrest if he were to attempt to assimilate this throng into Babylonian society. And he certainly didn't want to bring them to Persia. So he conspired with the holy man Nehemiah and the scribe Ezra to create a single identity for these poor souls. In order to give them a future, it was first necessary to create for them a past. So to explain the diversity of their languages, dialects, and customs, Ezra convinced them that each group sprang from one of 12 distinct tribes of mythical Hebrews. Clopas interrupted again. That's his uncle Clopas, who is actually Jesus's uncle. It's told by his uncle here. Clopas interrupted. He's sort of the comic relief in the thing. Thus was Moses drawn not from the ancient imaginary bulrushes of the Nile, but from the very real imaginations of good men who wish to free an assortment of people possessing no cultural memory whatsoever. Joseph smiled warmly at Clopas. Thank you, Clopas. Yes, exactly. The children of the captivity eagerly accepted this vision. The high priest Zechariah, and with great fervor they believed with all their hearts that they were the children of the mythical patriarchs. The scribe Ezra gathered scraps of local legends and myths that still echoed in the minds of various tribes and retold the stories as the 5 books of Moses. To further bolster the self-identity of the tribes, King Darius freed them to return to their, quote, homeland. An area that was ruled by no king and defended by no army. He gave them Palestine if they promised to immediately leave Babylon. Uncle Clopas cleared his throat and stood up. It was obvious that he had rehearsed what he was about to say. He delivered his words with accentuation of a schoolmaster. Quote, "There was indeed an exodus, my lords, but the exodus was from Babylon and not from Egypt. In a word, my lords, our magnificent religion and the nations of Israel and Judea are children of a dream, the awkward consequence of the expedient Persian politics." Jesus knew what these men said was true. Of all the cults, the Carmelites had no delusions concerning the secret history of the faith. The room remained silent for a moment. Then Joseph of Ramtha spoke directly to Jesus. "However, you, my Lord, are both real and fantasy. History and myth unite in your blood. You are not only a real king, but also the king of a dream, the rightful heir to a kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world." So that's what I was going to. This is a novel, everyone. So please don't think that I have access to the Akasic records or the honey preserved head of John the Baptist in the closet. Don't look in the closet anyway. Anyway, that's it for today. Sorry to be such a downer, but it is actually the Ides of March, and we should probably think about the omens that we're seeing and prepare ourselves for the only escape possible, our own liberation, our own enlightenment, our own illumination. That's the mountaintop that we must escape and take refuge in. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt, shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.